today's video we'll be working on this AC, and the issue we're having is the compressor will not turn on. Obviously the first thing you want to do is you want to check your wiring. I checked my wiring. I have a new capacitor here. The capacitor is not the issue. I checked my voltage coming in from my disconnect. I have 240 volts here at the bottom. I have my multimeter at the top of my contactor, and basically what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have 240 volts once the contactor is engaged. I put my gauges in. So when I look at my gauges, I do see that we have refrigerant in the system. You can see here that my gauges have retarded. Once my compressor turns on, the gauges should balance out or equalize. So right now it's been sitting in the same position, it hasn't moved. So one way to figure that out is, like right now, I'll take out my low side. You can see my low side dropped, and now I'm going to put it back in, and my gauges should retard. So this tells me that I do have refrigerant in the system, just my compressor's not turning on. At this point we can go ahead and check the compressor. Just make sure that we're ohming out the compressor, make sure it's not grounding or shorting. I do have a video posted on my channel how to do that, but at this point I'm fairly confident that the issue is that the compressor is just fairly old, so it's just going to need a little help starting up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hard start on this compressor, and that should allow the system to generate enough energy to start up. Here we have our hard start. Pull the disconnect. This is a hard start right here, and you can see here it says solid state relay and hard start capacitor increases compressor starting torque by 300%. Many different types of hard starts that you can purchase. I like these specifically because I already have a limited space here inside of the condensing unit where my panel is, and this is just the right size, small enough for me to slide it in there and to put the panel back over without any issues. When you have two wires, basically if you have a regular capacitor, you should be able to put it on the two terminals. See here on the packaging. So if you have just a capacitor that has two terminals, you should be able to just put it right onto those two terminals, as you see here in the instructions. We have what's called a dual capacitor. So you have your common, you have your and then you have your fan. If you don't remember anything at this point, just always remember you're never to attach your hard start to your fan. So here, the one that says fan, you will never attach your hard start to the fan lead coming off of your capacitor. It only leaves us with two leads off of our dual capacitor. We have the and we have the common. Here at the top of the capacitor, you can see the indicator mark right there by C. So obviously we know that this lead is going to go on common, this one's going to go on See here, I connected where it said C, I connected that to the common right there, and then the other one goes on the terminal. And like I said, this capacitor is just strong enough to give me enough juice to start up this compressor that's starting to age, as well as small enough that I can keep it in the compartment without having to move anything around. The question often that's asked is, how long will my compressor run if I add a hard start, if it's starting to age or struggle? Really the debate is anywhere between 2 and 5 years. I've talked to seasoned, experienced HVAC service technicians who said they've seen it run anywhere from as little as 2 to as much as 5 years. So that's kind of where I would leave that recommendation. If you know that your compressor is starting to give you issues, it's starting to have a struggling or have a hard time starting, this should give you enough time to save enough significant amount of money so that you can go ahead and replace your compressor. Now I'm going to put my disconnect back in, and then we'll watch the gauges to see if my compressor turns on. And you can see here the compressor turned on right away. If this video was a help, If it was informational, please subscribe.